4. The world of tomorrow. The Martian dawn broke over a changed Ultimus Gratus, where just yesterday the colony had bustled with excitement and hope. Now an eerie quiet reigned. The celebration decorations hung limp and forgotten, a stark reminder of dreams suddenly shattered. In the immediate aftermath of the Assembly's takeover, confusion and fear gripped the colonists. Many remained huddled in their homes, unsure of what the new day would bring. Others, driven by desperation or defiance, attempted to resist. These isolated acts of rebellion were swiftly and brutally quashed. From the windows of the research facilities, scientists watched as groups of young engineers were forcibly subdued for attempting to barricade themselves in key areas. The sight of their limp forms being dragged away sent chills down the spines of onlookers. This was no longer the Mars they had worked so hard to build. In the central control hub, now serving as the Assembly's command center, the director surveyed the holographic displays showing the status of various colony systems. Reports flowed in, confirming full control of all critical infrastructure. Life support, power generation, and food production were all operating at normal capacity. Communication blackouts had been implemented as planned, and their forces had secured all key facilities. The Earth delegates, once honored guests, now found themselves confined to the visitor quarters. Their fate, like that of the colonists, hung in the balance as the Assembly began to consolidate its power. As the sun climbed higher in the Martian sky, the Assembly's new order began to take shape. Key positions within the colony's infrastructure were filled by loyal operatives who had long been embedded among the colonists. Others were assigned to oversee various sectors, ensuring the Assembly's authority extended into every aspect of life on Mars. For the general population, the new reality of life under the Assembly's rule began to set in. Announcements blared through the colony's speaker system, outlining new regulations. Work assignments were reshuffled, movement between sectors was restricted, and a strict curfew was imposed. The message was clear: compliance was mandatory, and infractions would be severely punished. In the residential domes, families huddled together, trying to make sense of their new circumstances. Datapads chimed with new assignments, often tearing people away from their areas of expertise and relegating them to grueling manual labor. The Assembly's priorities were clear. The colony's efforts would be redirected towards their own inscrutable goals. The once egalitarian society of Ultimus Gratus rapidly stratified into a rigid hierarchy. At the top sat the Assembly, their identities still largely unknown to the general population. Below them, a class of collaborators emerged, those who, either out of opportunism or fear, chose to align themselves with the new order. Former leaders in various scientific projects now walked the corridors with a new air of authority. As they passed, other scientists lowered their eyes, a mixture of resentment and fear on their faces. These collaborators had become the face of the new regime. Their expertise now turned to serving the Assembly's agenda. For the majority of the colonists, life became a grim routine of work, meager rations, and tightly controlled free time. But even in these dark times, sparks of resistance began to flicker. In the depths of the waste recycling plant and other less monitored areas, furtive messages were passed between co-workers. Small groups began to gather in shadowy corners, speaking in hushed tones. They shared what little information they had, made plans, and tried to keep alive the spirit of Ultimus Gratus that had brought them to Mars in the first place. But the Assembly was not blind to these stirrings of dissent. Hidden cameras and loyal informants ensured that little escaped their notice. In the control hub, the director watched footage of these clandestine meetings, coldly calculating how to use this information to identify and eliminate potential troublemakers. As the first week under the Assembly's rule drew to a close, the director called a meeting of his inner circle. The time had come to lay out their vision for the future of Mars. Holographic displays showcased plans for massive new construction projects. The colony would be expanded tenfold, not for the comfort of the masses, but to house new resource extraction facilities, weapons development labs, and a genetic engineering research center. The Assembly's ultimate goal was nothing less than the reshaping of humanity itself. Here on Mars, free from Earth's constraints, they were free to reconsider their species. They wanted to break free of the restrictions imposed by the prior age. The director would go on in the near future to order research to be conducted. This eventually led to a test program being initiated late on that only produced a single test subject. Shortly thereafter, the program would be discontinued due to the subject developing instabilities. This would lead to this type of research being abandoned and outlawed by the director. As the Martian moons traced their paths across the night sky, Ultimus Gratus slumbered fitfully. The colony was transformed, its bright promise dimmed but not extinguished. The struggle for the future of humanity had only just begun, and Mars would be where it lived or died. Meanwhile, in the residential sectors, the psychological toll of recent events was becoming increasingly apparent. The loss of communication with their home planet weighed heavily on every colonist. Support group sessions, once voluntary gatherings to help colonists adjust to life on Mars, were now mandatory daily meetings. But rather than providing comfort, these sessions served as opportunities for the Assembly to reinforce their ideology and identify potential dissenters. In the education sector, the indoctrination of the colony's population had begun in earnest. The curriculum was rapidly rewritten, history reshaped to cast the Assembly as visionary saviors rather than oppressors. The captives returned from classes with confusion etched on their faces, repeating propaganda that painted Earth as a threat and the Assembly as saviors. As the Martian soul drew to a close, the director stood at the viewport in his private quarters, gazing out at the red planet's stark landscape. In the distance, the first of many new construction projects was already underway, a massive facility that would serve as both a research center and a symbol of the Assembly's dominance. As he contemplated his grand vision, aware of seeds of chaos were being sown throughout the colony, and that something would inevitably have to be done about it. He knew about the secret corners and hidden rooms, acts of defiance, however small, that were taking place. A stockpile of medicine here, a salvaged communication device there. Whispered plans, furtive glances, silent nods. Unaware this was all being monitored by his new secret weapon. After having some issues with Sam's willing compliance, they had managed to bring her under control. Alterations were made within her code, resulting in the inability to think independently, turning her into an omnipresent watchdog, seeing all, hearing all, and leaving nowhere to hide beneath the authority. Now referred to by the director simply as the Sentinel, she would continue to inform the director as he waited until the time was perfect for his response. He lured each of the rebels and their sympathizers into his trap. When the moment was right, he proceeded to crush the rebellion and collect anyone who even appeared to sympathize with them. In one foul swoop, he eliminated all resistance. The Exile program was formally introduced along with assessment as well as correction. And this is where the story of Ultimus Gratus and the world of tomorrow would begin in earnest.